Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Heinzelman, welcome. And I very much enjoyed our conversation. And I want to pick up on this issue of privacy for a moment. And we talked a bit about this in the office. In the office, we talked about the Supreme Court's Carpenter case, which essentially lays out that access to a person's historical cell site records is a Fourth Amendment search because it would otherwise violate somebody's expectation of privacy when you're talking about physical movements. Now, the Carpenter case really changed America's understanding of their Fourth Amendment rights. This was a significant development. And yet, as far as I can tell, the public really has never been told whether it applies to the intelligence community. So my question is, if you're confirmed, would you ensure that Americans are informed about whether and to what extent Carpenter applies to the intelligence community or the CIA?
Thank you, Senator Wyden, and thank you for taking the time to meet with me the other day. If I'm confirmed to the position, I would be very happy to look into whether the CIA has guidance on Carpenter to determine whether or not it needs any guidance that it doesn't have, and to work with you on seeing what can be done to make public any significant interpretations, legal frameworks about significant issues. As we discussed, I believe that's an important part of the CIA's accountability, and I would look forward to working on that issue more generally.
What possible argument would there be to this major Supreme Court case laying out significant privacy law, new privacy law? What argument would there be for it not applying to the intelligence community?
Senator, the Carpenter decision is in some ways as a self-described narrow ruling about CSLI, or cell site location information data. It's been interpreted in other courts since, so one of the things I would want to look at if I'm confirmed to the position is not just Carpenter, but also other subsequent Fourth Amendment case law interpreting Carpenter in the lower courts. And unfortunately, I don't know enough, not being at the agency now, about the potential relevance to CIA's particular activities.
But you're not in fundamental disagreement with where the court is taking our country.
No, Senator, I don't
Good.
have a, no.
Good. One last question, if I might. Earlier this year, CIA released a portion of the report from the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board. And this was dealing with how to reform the CIA's activities under Executive Order 12333. And as we talked about, I've been very concerned about this because we kind of have two statutes out there. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, pretty specific, fair amount of details. I certainly am interested in some reforms, but there's a fair amount of kind of roadmap on how it works. 12333, we're basically in a very barren area. There's virtually few guidelines and rules, and I and Senator Heinrich would like to change that. Now, Director Burns, to his credit, said at our recent open hearing that he would address one of those key recommendations of the Privacy Board, ensuring that when the CIA conducts searches for Americans' information, it documents a justification, so we have a real record. If the government is looking into people's records, we're going to have some documentation. Now, the Privacy Board makes a number of other recommendations that I think are very important. And so my question is, would you make it a priority to to make sure you review all of the Privacy Board's recommendations and let us know when and how they could be implemented?
Senator Wyden, I appreciate and understand your concern about this issue and would make it a priority to review the PCLOB's full reports and be in touch with you about it.
I'll wrap up with this. Would it be acceptable to you, if confirmed, I hope you will be confirmed, to report within 6 months of starting work on the status of those other Privacy Board recommendations, so we can take that kind of sort of incomprehensible to the public area, 12333, and begin to get some transparency? Can we get a report within 6 months of your starting work?
Senator, I know that you and Director Burns have discussed undertaking a review, and that I believe he and you set a 6-month deadline for that, and I am looking forward to supporting that effort, and will.
My time is up. Just so you know, I think Director Burns is off to a strong start with respect to privacy and some new accountability. I'd like to see you build on it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.